Joining me now is our good friend, Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. She serves on the House Agriculture and Oversight Committees. Welcome. I'm glad to have you. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. But let's talk about what you're hearing about how this plan appears to be coming together in your home state. Do you have a sense of what it's going to look like?
If it looks anything like Operation Lone Star, then it will look like the ultimate failure. As someone who was serving in the Texas House when our governor pushed forward with Operation Lone Star, Operation Lone Star was something that just cost Texans so much money because the governor decided that he was going to become the mass deporter of some sorts. And ultimately, it led to us ended up having issues as it relates to food getting into our state and so many other things. And so we know that it cost us more than we ended up getting out of it. So I don't really expect to see anything more than more failure out of our governor teaming up with Trump.
So Trump's former acting director of ICE and now his pick for border czar, Tom Homan, he was ramping up the rhetoric this week. Here's a little bit of that. Take a listen.
Let me be clear. There is going to be a mass deportation. We're not waiting until January. We're already talking. We're already planning. We're going to put a plan in place and secure this nation at the highest level it's ever seen. It is a felony to knowingly harbor and conceal an illegal alien from immigration authorities. Don't test us.
Okay, a couple things there. First of all, what does he say what does he mean rather when he says we're not waiting until January? That is only relative to discussions, right? And then to whom is he directing this message?
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, to those that are uneducated, right? Like, because for him to say we're not waiting until January, as you and I both know, we know that there is an administration that is already in place. And until January 20th, there is nothing that the new administration can do, number one. Number two, we still have to figure out exactly how much authority a quote unquote border czar should be given before, there is a requirement that the Senate actually do some sort of confirmation. And so, with him going around threatening to arrest people and things like that, that's not something that we normally see coming out of, quote unquote, a border czar or anyone that is really in this position. That is something that the Department of Justice normally carries out. And so, we don't even know if Trump is going to go forward with his current nominee for Attorney General. Like, we have no idea. But I think that the fact that he's not laying out exactly how this is going to play out tells us everything that we need to know. If you recall, the only debate that Trump engaged in with Vice President Kamala Harris, he specifically talked about having concepts of a plan. Well, right now, what we're hearing is concepts of a plan. They have been talking about immigration and migrants for the longest time, and they're saying that they're going to get rid of all of them, but they've yet to lay out for us exactly how they're going to do this.
Which brings me to this. Do you have a sense of how many people they're talking about? Because to your point, I'm always looking at the logistics here. It appears to involve manpower to make arrests, detention, housing, procedures in court, likely legal challenges throughout the whole process, and then the actual deportation. Does Congress have any sense of the cost and where this money would come from?
We don't have a concept of what the cost would be, but let me tell you something. You are right to point out the logistics, right? Like, it's great to be on the campaign trail and just say, I'm going to kick everybody out and get people to hold up signs saying, deport them now, right? But in reality, it doesn't look that way. The estimates right now are that in the state of Texas alone, we have approximately 1.6 million undocumented folk. That's just in the state of Texas. Now you start to expand that out and try to figure out what are the numbers, right? And you start to figure out what does this look like for, say, our foster system, because you have children that may end up in situations where now they are going to enter the foster system, a foster system that is already not really doing all that it should be doing, right? We also know that we still have so many judges that have not been confirmed because we have blue slips and we have senators that are blocking the confirmation of judges. And so when we're looking at things like this, no, you don't just go and round somebody up and kick them out. There is a process, right? And then you look at the money that other people are going to make, because now you have to have facilities to house them. And I have a feeling that some of these people that invested a lot of money into Trump are very excited to build these facilities to hold and house people. But we already know that we had a shortage of officers on the border. They were constantly taking officers from everywhere else and deploying them to the border. So now you're going to need even more officers. And we still haven't talked about increasing our technology to do the things that they claim that they're doing, which is to try to keep the bad folk out, try to keep the